This is Daf Yomi Yerushalmi Shevi'is. In the article holds by another edition where Nun Aleph Amud Aleph at the fifth line down, Rabbi Yosef Bechina Amar, which in the Vilna is on Yud Ches Amud Aleph, about 16 lines before the end of the parak. There is Yosef Bechina is on one line, and Amar Ushin Chashuv is on the next line. Okay, so something the Kavanaki changes Rabbi Yosef Bechina Amar to Amar Rabbi Yosef Chanina, which is in the style of the Bavli, have when the statement appears without dispute, it's Amar so and so. It's Machlokas, it's so and so Amar. But I don't think the Yerushalmi abides by that distinction. But in any event, Rabbi Yosef Chanina Amar or Amar Rabbi Yosef Chanina, Oshin, according to the Kavanaki, is endives. I only know about Belgian endives. I think all endives are called Belgian endives for some reason, but could be I'm wrong because they are seems like there's a couple of types of ocean. So ocean machines chashum ne'etami tumas ochlin. Ocean are the Gemara in Pesachim actually it says ocean are kosher for morar. In our family, we use endives morar. It's Masorah from my grandfather. So that's how. So obviously, if it's morar, it's not so edible. So, but Shvi'is chashum ne'tamid numazoich. And in Shvi'is, when stuff isn't available, then hendives are upgraded, and they so be ochel, and the tamid tumas ochlin. Well, that was true before Rebbe was matir to bring Beshul Chutzlaretz. Meshita Rebbe, once Rebbe was matir, Hishvi Yishay Meshvua, ocean don't get upgraded because we have enough other vegetables. Okay, so the next Gemara. Lo Pligin is actually a new statement, and it's going on where it says in the Mishnah, "Emotin shemet sreifa perish feis me'oz l'chutz laaretz." Amar Rabbi Shimon Shari perish emotin v'sur ve'emotin l'chutz laaretz. So, question where they argue. Having boyim meimar, people want to say, don't know exactly who, but Lo Pligin they don't argue. Ashkech Tani, so he found that they do argue. Rabbi Huda Amar ad Kaziv. You're allowed to bring Shem and Sreifa and Perish Feast up to Kaziv, which is the boundary of Oli Bava. You can't even take them to the area of Oli Mitzrayim. And Rabbi Shimon says up to Amara. You can go all the way to the boundary of Oli Mitzrayim, where, as we said previously in Parak, you're not allowed to work, but you're allowed to eat. So according to Rabbi Huda, who holds it's also to take to the Shemetz Reifa and Perish Shvi'is into the area of Olei Mitzrayim, it's certainly also to take it out to Syria, which is less kedusha than Olei Mitzrayim, since its kibush was kibush yachid by David HaMelech and never even received the status of Olei Mitzrayim. So and it could be that when he says when Rabbi Shimon says Aramona, that includes Syria. But in any event, the Mishnah said you can't take it out to Syria, so therefore they obviously do argue. Okay, assuming Rabbi Yehuda is the Tanakam in the Mishnah, so then we have an argument about taking out the area of Olei Mitzrayim, and by association, an argument in taking it to Syria. Tanya, Paris, so in the Gemara it says Paris Oretz. Kavanaki has Paris Shvi'is. So the argument is just clarification. So the guy got it somewhere. Paris Shvi'is Shuetz Chutz Laaretz. Paris Shvi'is were taken out to Chutz Laaretz means Barim b'Mekoymon. You mevara them where you are. Diva Rebbe, that's Rebbe's opinion. Shimon Lezamar Mevin Laaretz and Barim, you got to bring them back to Eretz Yisrael in order to be mevara them. The Chesiv says, "Bar tzachot yeh kol tvuasol echol." In your land, all of its produce should be uh, um, to eat. And the halacha bia we learn from the beginning of that pasuk. If there's nothing left in the animal field, so then remove what's for your animal in your house. So since it says ba'artzecha, then it means in your land specifically. The Kamanaki suggests that Rebbe holds that that of course l'chatchila should do beer in Eretz Yisrael, but once it got to chutzlaret, so it's a b'diavad situation, and we're not compelled to bring it back to Eretz Yisrael. Amar Rabbi Yaakov, it could be also because Shemitah's Rabbanan, so therefore he didn't have to bring it back to Eretz Yisrael. Amar Yaakov Barach Ori Rabbi Ami Ki Yahin Tanakama. Rabbi Ami Baskin like this Tanakama, which is a strange way of putting it, but that's Rebbe. Ulakula, and leniently, you do beer in Chutzlaretz. Rabbi Hillel said, "Uvad shelo yavi rei memakom lemakom." So you shouldn't take them from place to place. That's degrading it. In other words, you actually do Chutzlaretz, but don't take them from place to place. Chutzlaretz, be mabaret ba'asher hu sham, where you find it. Let's see the. Yeah. Rabbi Moshe also says, and you have to do beer through the place where you took them. The only time I've had this Lamaisa is by, I guess by Srogim it's Lamaisa, but by Shemitah wine, when it's made from oats are based in. But one really would need to know the amount of beer, and it could be in Chutzlaretz a different amount of beer than Eretz Yisrael. Or would you go by Eretz Yisrael, since the Ikar beer is supposed to be in Eretz Yisrael? Not clear. Basel Shulchan says that you can't take Perish Shevi'is Chutzlaretz even to Syria. Chazanish says, as the organ was sent to Chutzlaretz, you bring motzi Perish Shevi'is, which is not supposed to do. Nevertheless, the fruit is not osur, and you yotze with the esro. And the Pasuk Shulchan also passes that Peros Aretz She'asu Chutzlaretz then is bar min kaimam v'lo yavriyem mimakom l'makom. Okay, now we go to the next part of the Mishnah. And if you look in the Pei Moshe, by the way, you'll see he divided up the Mishnah into several parts, which also Kavanaki does. And the next part of the Mishnah says, Ein maviyim truma mechutzlaretz la'aretz. You don't bring truma for chutzlaretz la'aretz. Amar Rabbi Shimon b'Pishai v'Yeshua Syria. You bring from Syria of Ein maviyim chutzlaretz. The reason we by Syria is because its avir is not tamei. So says Gemara, Tama Tninan. We learned over there. A restone, heavy bikurim me'apamya. A restone was evidently a Baal Bos of some sort, and he brought his bikurim from Apamya. Oh, it's actually, there's a Mishnah in Maseches Chala. So Apamya was evidently a city in Syria. Bikilu me'menu, and they accepted from him. So, okay, really it wasn't a kadosh, right? Because no din of bikurim mechutz la'aretz, but they accepted it anyway. So it says Gemara, if that's the case, Rabbi Yosha, v'yavilu truma. So that's the case. You should also bring truma. No, it's going down to Kamo, so you can't bring truma chutz la'aretz. Why not? You can be bikurim. Why can't you bring truma? But the same status. Rabbi Yosha said bikurim b'achrayas bailim. The bikurim is at the under the supervision of the owner, and they have to bring to Arbais. So therefore, they bring to Arbais. They bring to Arbais. Truma I know b'achrayas bailim, but truma is not an achrayas to the bailim to bring it to the kohen. Normally, in the old days, the kohanim were mechazel the base of gronos. They would go and seek it out. So therefore, im arma kain, if you say they bring truma from Syria, Havim Radfin Achor Lasham. They're going to run after it into Syria in order to get the Bikurim, and we don't want them to go to Bikurim. Even though the Avi era time is not Tameh, but in Syria the ground itself is Tameh. So Rabbi Shimon evidently holds like that they were going to Shiva Teva Migdal, enclosed vehicle, or it wasn't places for going to Chutzlaretz, pick up Chumas Chutzlaretz, because it's a mitzvah to have some sort of main mitzvah. It's like going out for a parnasa, Lisa Isha. Not clear, but in any event, he was not concerned. Okay, next parak. Klal Gadol Amru B'Shvi'is. He said a great principle by Shemitah. Kol Shemachal Adam Machal Behema. Anything which is either Machal Adam or Machal Behema, obviously it does not have to be both. Or it's something which is used for dying, which is for dying for the purpose of human beings. It's nothing remains of it to the following year, because the rats or people, animals eat it, and this is the reason why all these things are chayv and biur. Yesh lo shvius udama shvius. It has chedusha shvius, and if you sell it, the money you get has kedusha shvius. Yesh lo biur. It has to undergo the biur process at the proper time. Udama biur, and you sold it, you have to do biur on the money. What is machal adam? So even the following: alufa shoyte, the deviant, the foolish luf, which means that it grows itself in the fields. But lufa pikech, the smart one, which grows in gardens, is also because of spichim. Even if you didn't cultivate it, anything which normally grows in gardens is also because of spichim. That's mint. Ha'oshin and dives. Some people say it's Yaakov Menaki says that the Matz holds that it's chicory, but before we said endives. Vakrishin, he actually translates here as leek. Varagila, purslane, which I never saw. V'neitzah cholov. It's in English. It's orchid. An orchid. Those are machalon. Machal behema, hachochim, even thorns. Vadardarim, these are two types of thorns. So because the animal eats the soft parts of the thorn bushes. Uminat sovim, and things which are used for dyeing. Even sviche istis, wild growth of istis, which the Kabnoki translates as indigo. The kutza, it's saffron, but it's obviously not edible saffron, but some sort of, because edible saffron is very expensive. But I guess it's some sort of a color, saffron color. And they're called tzvichim because even after you cut them, it still grows. This is misupach, add it on. So all of this, Yeshem Shvi'is, they have Kedusha Shvi'is, Udmei Shvi'is, and the money you get for them, you sell them, also Kedusha Shvi'is, B'yesh and Bior, and they have, there's a requirement to do Bior on them, Udmei and Bior, and there's a requirement to do Bior on their money if you sold them. The Mishnah goes on Nun Beis Amud Aleph, but we got the end of the first section of the Mishnah, so we'll stop here for today.